New year, new you, and of course, new work. Today we get feedback from a returning Radiance intern and hear about her experience as an intern so far and her career plans for the future. I'm Connor Griffith, and welcome to our Chit-Chat. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of Radiance Chit-Chats. Today, we're going to do sort of a deep dive into the life of the Radiance interns here and what awesome things they have to work on. My guest today is Miss Emily Yardumian from CSG. Emily, how are you?
I'm doing well, Connor. Thanks.
Of course. And, I have to ask, well, the last name like Yardumian, I mean, that's super unique. What's some of the heritage on that?
So it's an Armenian last name. My grandfather's dad and his family had immigrated at the turn of the 1900s from Armenia to America. So I'm not that Armenian, but the name sticks and the heritage is pretty cool.
I assume you get asked about it a lot.
Yep, always the first question.
Let's jump into more what you've been doing here at Radiance. So you are still an intern, yes?
Yes.
And when do you graduate?
I'll be graduating this December.
And so what's your current degree path?
So I'm studying electrical engineering. I go to the University of Alabama in Huntsville, and electrical engineering is my major, and then I'm doing a minor in physics.
That's awesome. So obviously you're here with us at Radiance now, but were you an intern anywhere else before you came here?
Yeah. So my first 2 years of school, I was studying computer science and I was going to a community college near my house. And the school partners with some different companies there in the town that I'm from. And one of the ones was looking for a computer science, programming, cybersecurity, IT intern. So I had applied for that and got to do that for about a year and a half before coming here to Radiance.
Oh, that is awesome. So how long have you been at Radiance specifically?
I spoke to Radiance at my first semester at the career fair at UAH, and that would have been fall of 2018. So that's when I officially signed paperwork and came on.
So you said you met some of our recruiters at a career fair. What was it about Radiance that caught your eye over some of the other companies you saw at that fair?
So I did get to speak to Radiance there at the career fair. And one of the things I think that stood out the most was just how fast they were able to get back with me. That was pretty cool. And I enjoyed getting to talk to them also at the table there and getting to hear about a lot of the projects that Radiance has done, different companies that they've worked with. And that was something that also stood out to me. It seemed like a lot of interesting things that I would enjoy being involved with. And
that's really great. Obviously, communication's super important to anyone looking for a new job opportunity. So shout out to our recruiting team. Good job, guys. So now we'll move in more into kind of the atmosphere here at Radiance, what it's been for you as an intern. Now, when you first got here, were you kind of in an office by yourself?
So when I first came, we were still over on Wind Drive.
Right.
So it was still kind of small for the number of employees. My first week, I was the only one in the office. But then the second week, Monday morning, there was someone else who was sharing the office with me.
Uh-oh.
But it was nice because my office, it was interns. So it was cool just to be able to interact with them, talk to them, and kind of get to know them throughout the summer as well. There were 2 or 3 of us in that room throughout the summer.
Now, were any of them working on kind of the same projects as you, or were they in different divisions?
We were all in CSG, but we were all working on different projects.
I gotcha. So what about the camaraderie with all those? Even though you didn't really have anything in common from a project standpoint, were you able to get along with everybody? Did you have good communication?
Yeah. So one of the things that was interesting is having the interns from different schools and different academic paths. It was interesting just to get to talk to them and kind of compare, hey, this is what I've been learning. This is what you've been learning. I want to hear more about that. And that was something that was really neat, just getting to kind of get a diverse view of the field.
Absolutely. And so, now in 2020, education's been a little harder to do with the advent of COVID-19. Has that necessarily affected your work life, your school life at all?
One of the things that's been nice with Radiance is when I worked full-time last summer as an intern, but then throughout the school year, I had been working part-time kind of flexibly as I could with school. And they were always really understanding, like, hey, you've got finals coming up. That's cool. Or if the semester's getting pretty busy, you don't have to continue working now if that's just really a stressor for you. So that was one thing that I really appreciated. And that continued with the COVID situation, just the increased flexibility. So I didn't work the last month or so of the semester, but that was kind of when everything was shutting down. So that was something that I did appreciate, was just the flexibility to be able to focus on whatever was going on as well.
Absolutely. And I'm sure that you're very thankful to get some of that school out of the way. Now you can get back into work, get back into your groove. Let's get more into what you have been doing with work. So kind of describe to us some of the projects you've had the opportunity to work on.
So last summer, the first thing that I started out with was just kind of doing some research into signal processing, some some like reverse engineering. I got to work with a couple programs in that, which is something that I hadn't gotten to do before. So that was interesting to learn about. And then also my main project for the summer was developing a user interface for a simulation. And that was really cool, getting to work with one of the full-time computer engineers a lot on that. I got more experience like working on the command line, like with GitHub, that kind of thing as well. And that was just kind of learning a new programming language over the summer and getting to apply it. Being able to ask questions as well was something that was helpful for that project. And then during the fall, I continued on adding some more features.
Great. Obviously a good variety of work. You've mentioned a lot about some of your peers. You had a couple people in the lab you worked with, a couple people outside. You were in a room with several different interns. What was your interaction like with your boss during that time?
He was pretty busy. He had several interns and a lot of projects going on. But if I had questions for him, like he would be available or he could point me in the right direction. Being able to like message him on Teams or something if he wasn't in the office or if he had a meeting.
Right.
That was really definitely helpful. And he was always good about getting back with me with that.
Well, so surely you had some time in between all of that hard work to take part in a little bit of fun. Were there some more extracurricular activities you were able to take part in while you're here at Radiance?
So every Friday morning in CSG, we have our chicken biscuits meeting, which is pretty fun because there's always an informative speaker telling us about something either within the company. Sometimes there's outside people who come in and talk about it. And we also get chicken biscuits, which is a great bonus.
Of course.
So that was one thing that was definitely interesting to me every week, something to look forward to. Also with Radiance Universities, the lunch and learns that they have, that was something that several of the interns were able to take part in, and we really enjoyed that. I know the time management one, that was pretty cool, just getting to, being in school and everything. Of course, that's something that applies to someone who's working full time. But if you're in school, working part time, doing that kind of thing, you've got a lot of plates spinning.
Right.
And that was really interesting. It sparked a lot of conversation between the interns that were there last summer. So that was really enjoyable. Also, going back to chicken biscuits, one of the weeks someone had come and spoke about HPM, high power microwave. So hearing him talk about it, I was like, wow, that sounds like a lot of fun. I want to try to do that.
There you go.
So I got to get a better picture of what Radiance did. And that was one thing that had really interested me. So I got to talk to him. And this summer now, that's the division that I'm working in. I'm working under him and getting to do something that's a little more hardware oriented as opposed to just kind of like a software development position.
Well, that's really great to hear. It's good to know that you're taking advantage of all the opportunities that you have here. I'm glad you've been enjoying all of that. So you mentioned that openness in the communication had actually led you down new roads and you found new opportunities, and you're actually switching over to a different program now, into a new division. Tell us a little bit more about that switch over.
Yeah. So like I had said, I did my first 2 years as a computer science major and I enjoyed programming, but there were a lot of other things that I also enjoyed more along the physics side of things. So when I transferred to UAH, I switched majors to electrical engineering. And I think last summer, the reason it was more of a software development kind of position was when I got hired, it was my first semester in engineering. My resume was all like, ooh, software. She can do this. She knows progress. She this kind of thing. So last summer was a good experience because I did get to learn more about it, but also it was good to figure out, hey, this isn't really what I think I want to do. It's been nice these last couple months being able to switch over to something that's more aligned with my major, more aligned with what I am thinking right now that I want to do. So being able to feel free to just mention, hey, can I maybe talk about moving? Are there people that I can speak to about this? And just the freedom to be like, hey, yeah, we're going to encourage this because we want you to be doing something that's a good fit for you, that you're enjoying, that you enjoy coming into work every day to do.
Absolutely. And it's good to know that you have that freedom and you're doing your part to make sure that you're growing. The next couple of things I want to ask you about are more just, in your opinion, some of the benefits of working here at Radiance.
So when I had gone to the career fair at UAH, there were several different companies that I interviewed with, and I had 3 or 4 different offers on the table. And I was kind of trying to decide which one would be better, looking at company atmosphere, what the work they did, interns turning into full-time employees, that kind of thing. But I think the thing that stood out most about Radiance, well, there were 2 things, actually. The first one was the offer to give interns security clearances.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was a pretty big investment. And that was something that I was like, well, if they're doing this, then, they're probably pretty serious. Also, that's a really useful thing to get when you're still in college.
Absolutely.
So that was definitely a benefit. The second thing that stood out the most, the first place that I had been an intern, they were an employee-owned company. And that was something that I really enjoyed. I enjoyed getting the atmosphere there. I felt like it was a lot more free, a lot more kind of independent. And we were able to joke around, like go around and everything. There were potlucks every month. And that was fun.
Sure.
And I felt like those were a lot of things that were kind of related to having employee owners. Like if this is your place, then, you know, you're more invested in it and interested in staying there, hanging out with the people, getting to know them. And also you work harder because this is your money that you're working over. It's not just some kind of big corporate machine or something. So that was something that I really enjoyed about Radiance. And that was one of the factors that contributed to me deciding to intern here.
Of course. That's what we are here. We're a 100% employee-owned company. We want you to feel comfortable. We want you to feel at home while you're here. So before I let you go, I'm going to go through just kind of a little bit of a rapid fire question and answer for you. Get just a few of your last minute overall thoughts. So let's talk skills. What are some of the biggest and most important skills you've learned while you've been here at Radiance?
There's been a lot of exposure to government acronyms for sure. And that's one thing that's,
absolutely.
I haven't been around a lot in the academic world. Again, last summer, learning a new programming language. That was good. Just learning like different software. I have a different program, a couple different ones over the last couple of weeks. So it's definitely marketable skills that I'm getting that are pretty useful. And then also learning more about how the classified world works. You know, it's not just like a bunch of people locked up in a room upstairs or something doing secret stuff.
What is it then?
And that's classified.
Rats. So if you happen to know anyone outside the company looking for an internship, do you think you would be willing to recommend Radiance to those people?
Definitely. Yeah, it's been a really positive experience for me. And I'd love to have more people be able to have this kind of experience.
And do you want Radiance to hire you? Do you want to be here full time?
I'd definitely be open to the possibility.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Emily, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited that you're working on things that you love, and I very much hope to see you as a permanent member of the Radiance family very soon. Thanks to everyone who tuned in today, and a big thank you to the Rad U team, of course, for all your help and support on the podcast series. Don't forget to tune in on August 3rd for the next episode of Radiance Chit-Chats. We'll be speaking with our corporate communications manager, Mr. Emmett Moore, about Radiance Gives and all of the charitable efforts Radiance is doing to give back to our wonderful community. If you want to know more about us, you can check us out online at www.radiancetech.com/Radiance University. And if you want to hear more, you can follow our podcast series on Buzzsprout, iTunes, or Spotify. I'm Connor Griffiths, and I'll see you next time.